Why don't you have socks on? You always wear socks.
I don't know. I feel like a hippie right now. I'm just a hippie. Well, welcome back to Young, Dumb, and In Love. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our podcast.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you're notified every single time we release a new video. And if you're on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you subscribe. Hey, and if you like it, share it because we want to share the good news of marriage with other people. So make sure you do that. Well, hey, it was just Mother's Day. All the moms out there, shout out all the moms.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but as a husband, I look at moms and I think, wow, these women are amazing. They just slay life.
Seriously, though.
Kids, craziness. We have 2 kids, but I tell her all the time she has 3 because, me. Always causing trouble, always doing things, always saying, Britt, I have an idea. And she's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just the way it flows. But hey, this year for Mother's Day was a little funny, a little interesting. A couple weeks ago, I don't know. It's a big deal. A couple weeks ago, we're in the car. And we stopped at Trader Joe's, and our daughter, our littlest, didn't want to go in. And Brittany was like, hey, I'll just go in. I'll get what we need. Yeah, she wasn't feeling good. So I stayed in the car. Brittany went into Trader Joe's. And then all of a sudden she comes back out, and she's got all the stuff. And she goes, hey, so I was in there, and they had some Mother's Day cards. And so I went ahead and bought all the moms their cards. But I also bought one for me, for the girls, and yourself to fill out for me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? You bought your own Mother's Day card? What is wrong with you? It has nothing to do with her faith in me because she knew that I was going to take care of her, right?
I mean,
I was going to take care of her, but listen.
You've gotten to that place for a long time.
I've made a mistake or 2 in the past 15 years.
Per year.
But, okay. Okay.
I'm kidding. So I didn't buy them because I didn't think you would buy them. It's just they were 99 cents at Trader Joe's. And I was trying to save us some money. You don't want to go buy cards are expensive.
They are.
Very expensive.
But you're worth every dime.
I'd rather buy a 99-cent card and then have you buy me coffee. That adds up to one card at the store. And our girls, you would take them to the store and they would pick the most fancy card and it would be like $10.99.
Yeah, it's true.
If they even have $10.99.
And that's okay. We would spend $20.99 on you.
I know.
But you don't even like cards, really. It's not. It's not
necessarily. Like cards,
it's not necessarily the card that you like. You like the thought and what's written.
Well,
in
I think that's all moms or women in general. It's not really what it is. It's the thought that you did it. So it doesn't have to be expensive or extravagant or.
Well, I'm actually grateful that's not your person. You don't need a new Louis Vuitton bag for every Mother's Day. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. But just the thought you thought of me, it was an effort. It wasn't just wow, it's Mother's Day. But, that's okay. Whatever. It's great.
It's okay.
Here's a cute card. I said, here's a couple cards. You can have the girls choose one of them.
So I wasn't offended.
It was great Mother's Day.
I wasn't offended. I was actually I appreciated it in a way because she was. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. It was just a lot.
I'm a lot.
She just knows what she wants. Let's just say that. Brittany knows.
Sometimes I think that what gets marriages in trouble, and this is going way deeper.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right off the bat, is that we don't communicate our expectation. I expect a card on my birthday, our anniversary, and Mother's Day. Those are only 3 things, right?
That's it.
Just something or little notes or something. Because this past year on my birthday, which is in February, he didn't even say happy birthday for how long?
30 minutes.
I can't exactly remember, so I'll give you 30 minutes.
I'm even adding.
But listen, I'm not mad now, but it's kind of like this. Just express your expectation. And I also want to make sure he's teaching our girls what it looks like for a husband to honor his wife. So after my birthday this year, we had nice little chat about that.
Yeah. It was just 30 minutes. It was like, okay, listen, I'm not a morning person. So
excuses.
I am not. I can't even think straight in the morning. It's awful.
Can't even think straight. Don't care.
Hey, it happens. Okay, it was really bad. 30 minutes of not saying happy birthday. We're not there.
So we had your birthday, family in town.
Oh my gosh, so busy.
Our 3-year-old, well, before your birthday, she was sick. So we were home with the sick baby. Birthday, Mother's Day, family in town. So
party. Yeah. But speaking, I'm gonna go back to Mother's Day for just 1 second.
Oh, Mother's Day.
We went to church.
No, don't give it away.
No.
What are you gonna say?
It's totally fine. We went to church and it was so awesome. No, it's fine. We went to church. It was so awesome. I go to the bathroom in the bathroom. Then I go to wash my hands.
Well, I'm glad you washed your hands.
And as I'm washing my hands, I look over to my left and there's a little basket there. And this is on Mother's Day. And this is probably the smartest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But they're washing their hands.
Yep.
And there's a basket with a ton of Mother's Day cards with pens and envelopes and everything. This guy's filling it out. I'm like, yo, that's awesome. He goes, yeah, this is saving my marriage. And I'm like, yeah.
No, I did think that was a really good idea. Like I had never thought about that.
Genius.
But what a great way, help
a brother out.
Yeah,
it was genius. I'm like, all those guys who actually did miss it,
forget.
they were saved by the local church.
Hey. Yeah. So
and also,
we had a great Mother's Day.
I ordered these mugs just because I wanted to. Young, Dumb, and in Love mugs, and I'm making her use it so that we can be really cool.
What's in your mug?
Sounds sparkling water.
Same. I wish it was coffee though, but
it's got to be iced coffee right now. All right, so this last week we actually asked a question on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. I don't even know. Just kidding, not Twitter. We didn't do Twitter. But we asked a question and we said, we want to hear from you. Yeah. What are your questions about marriage? And we had a few questions that we can go over and answer together. And this is on the fly. We didn't really write this down or talk about it. We kind of just are going to pull it up and answer your questions the best that we can. Yep. So let's go to the first one. You ready?
All right. Yep.
How do you navigate deciding if mom should go back to work after kid is born?
Well, in honor of Mother's Day, so I think, and you can chime in too. I think every single family is different. Yep. Every family. And what I love about living in the day that we live in, 2022, is that you don't see every family now can make that choice. If mom wants to go back to work, there are options for her to go back to work. Whereas, I feel like there was a day where it was more assumed that mom automatically would stay home. And I mean, I'm talking a long time ago.
Yep.
But I think really it has to come down to, having that discussion, husband and wife. Hey, are you thinking about going back to work? Do you want to go back to work? Financially, looking at finances. What does that look like? So I think it depends. That can be a heavy conversation because sometimes mom's like, no, I want to go back to work.
Oh, for sure.
And that's great.
Oh, for sure.
And then I think sometimes they're like, no, I don't want to go back to work, but can we do it financially? So I think it's really a, couple to couple situation.
Yep.
I did both. I didn't go back to work after I had Gabby, but then I did go back to work after I had Elsie.
Yeah.
So I've kind of navigated both,
Yeah.
And I don't think there's really a wrong or a right answer. I just think there's what is going to work for your family, for your kids, for your wife, for your husband, whatever that looks like. I mean, we know families where dad stays home. We know families where mom stays home. We know families that both parents work.
This day and age is so different. I think the biggest thing too, when you're deciding this, you have to just communicate. Just sit down and have a real conversation. Don't assume. Dad, don't assume.
Yeah.
Wife, don't assume, because you have to have a real conversation with each other and understand, okay, this is what our finances look like. This is what we need. This is where we're at in life. Mm-hmm. You just have to really go through and take account for all of those things and decide whether that's best for you or not. Also, personally, I think it's really good for moms to get out and do something because it helps them just mentally after they've had a baby. Yeah. A lot of women deal with postpartum and it's really hard. And I think a lot of that has to do with just because kids are hard. Babies are really, really hard, and being stuck at home all the time can be hard. So depending on your personality and what's going on, like really take all of that into account and think, okay, what's going to be the healthiest for my wife as she navigates this new life that we've just entered into. And like she said, a lot of women these days love work. They love to get out and do things. And so I encourage it as much as possible.
Well, I think too, if you like a husband, if you're like, no, I want my wife to go back to work, but she decides she wants to stay home, like you need to support her in that decision. And remember that like you guys are a team. And so it's not that you work and she doesn't, because staying home and raising kids, trust me, it's harder than any like full-time job I ever got up and went to. And I think can be really taxing. So like, it's not your money then, or your wife isn't working to help, so just kind of also be like thoughtful of that.
Yeah. So true. Let's go on to the next question.
Yeah.
Should we be open to friends about our relationship? What are typical boundaries? Woo! Oh, this one can get dicey because when you, especially if you have a lot of like really good friends, like for instance, if my wife had a bunch of really good friends that they hung out all the time, they told each other all their little secrets, right? There's definitely a boundary and boundaries that you need to put into place when it comes to your marriage, because marriage should be sacred in a lot of ways. And there's things that go on in your marriage that should stay between your marriage. Now, there are a lot of things in your marriage that you should be talking to your friends about and getting their advice, especially if they're married and they've walked through those kind of situations, I think it's good to have friends and to talk to people, but it really depends on what it is in marriage that you're talking about, because if it's like, I don't know, I don't want to get too specific, but you have to really figure out what those boundaries are between what you can talk to your friends about and what you shouldn't talk to your friends about. And trust me, there's things you should not talk to your friends about.
Well, and I think too, it's dependent on the friends. There's going to be certain friends that are your fun friends, and maybe that they're not the appropriate friends to discuss that with. But I think there's going to be friends that you have who have similar, like ideas of what marriage should look like, morals, values, and also that they want to champion you and your marriage. So if you have friends who, maybe like, what if I had girlfriends who didn't like Julian, and so, and this is just an example, but then when I talk to them about Julian, they're like, well, you should just leave him, or you should I can't believe you put up with that, or whatever. That's not healthy. That needs to be a boundary that you have. And so I think there are certain people who I would say more can like come alongside you and help you. So if you're really going through something, like we have a couples that we're really good friends with, that when we were walking through a season of like, Julian, we had just kind of, when you had lost your job, like I asked like, hey, lift us up in prayer. Like we're struggling. We could really use support, encouragement. And they were right there like, yes, how can we pray for you? How can we love on you? So I think that, it really depends on who the friends are. And then there's certain things that do need to be sacred. Yeah. I think those things can be obvious. Doesn't mean you can't have a conversation with someone if you're struggling in those things, but you're not just going to like flippantly talk about it. Mm-hmm. And your spouse needs to be comfortable with what you talk about too. Yeah. Like if I bring up in front of a group of friends something that Julian's like, no, I don't want to talk about that in front of our friends, then I'm dishonoring him by bringing something up that he doesn't want to talk about in front of his friends. Yeah. So I think, it's finding the right friends, what couples that might be.
It's so true. Yeah. And on the guy side, I think we're very guilty of this. When you get invited to go do something, right? It's so easy to be like, well, let me ask my wife.
Yeah, and they make me look like the bad guy.
And you make her look like the bad guy by saying that. Now, it might be true. You might need to actually have a conversation with her.
You should always.
And I think that's super smart. But I just think you need to be very careful on how you perceive your wife to your friends.
How you portray her.
How you portray your friends to your wife or your husband, because how you portray it that's how they're going to see it.
Yeah,
because they're not with
definitely.
you every single
No,
day.
that's true.
So it's super important that with your friends, you portray them and you honor your spouse as much as possible, and speak life over them, and make sure that they're honored and loved. So
Yep.
yeah, pretty simple. Yep.
Yeah.
Debt free or manage debt. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because a few things. Our world, you kind of need credit for a lot of things. You want to buy a house, you kind of need to have good credit. You want to buy a car, you need to have good credit. And it's now there are people who can buy with cash. I get it, but not everyone. I would say most people cannot buy a house with cash. So you have to build credit. What does that mean? That means you have to have debt.
Manage debt. Yeah.
And manage debt. And
well,
so
I think that's the key word is managed debt. There's a difference between just flippant debt where I'm just like, I'm going to go spend money on our credit cards and run up our bills and just do that. And then like managed, like, hey, before we buy this home and finance the home, can we afford it? Do we want to take the whole 30 years? And so again, family to family or couple to couple, debt free as much as I think it is real. I think it can be realistic. And I think it should be a great goal, especially, when you start having your eye on like retirement and whatever that may be. And we're not financial advisors. Our finances are, we do steward them well, but we are not financial advisors or experts by any means. But I do think the idea of being able to like buy a home cash can be very unrealistic these days, which I'm sure a lot of you know. So it's just like, can we afford this? Sitting down, hey, okay, so this is how much our house payment's going to be. This is how much groceries, car, gas, kids, whatever it may be, and make sure that that's an expense you are comfortable taking on. And I feel like that's kind of what we've lived by is like, are we comfortable taking on this amount of debt? And there's been seasons where we were, other than our mortgage, debt free, and kind of ebbs and flows, but we don't keep any credit card debt.
No,
we pay off. I don't know if that's like TMI.
No, not at all.
But like we try to do as much pay cash, as in pay for it on our card and pay it off right away, all the time. Which
has given us great credit. We have great credit because we're very diligent and we steward our credit cards very well.
Yeah.
We don't treat our credit cards like free money. We treat it we only treat it like we actually have money.
Yeah. Well, and for us, like we love to travel. Yep. So credit cards have been an opportunity for us to earn points and then fly for free, which then I feel like, hey, I'm saving us money by managing our debt well. Yeah. So I think, again, it's like if you have like, if you're struggling, I think financially or like with money management, it's a great thing to get a hold of ASAP, whether there's like some sort of program you want to do, there's a little bug right there, some sort of program, look for resources, because I feel like when we know this, money is like one of the 4 major stressors in marriage and can be such a hot button topic. Gosh, money, spending money, how to spend money, where to spend money. So true. Yeah. That's kind of my...
Yeah. And we've kind of always been on the same page. We've never really fought about it besides like how we're going to make money this month. Like we've had that for sure. But I feel like we've done a very good job at being on the same page.
And again, I mean, it's a communication thing.
It's all communication. That's it. I mean, the root of all evil, communication. That's what I say. They say money, but it's communication. Should we spill everything to our parents once we're married? I don't know what that means exactly. That could go a ton of ways, but if you're talking about your marriage,
probably
no.
Spill everything.
Spill everything to your parents once you're married.
Kind of like stuff you did. That was
I'm not sure. Like if it's
or like talk about your marriage to your parents.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's kind of like the friends thing. I'm very convinced that my parents will perceive my wife however I portray her. Okay. And so if we're having issues, I'm never going to go and talk trash about her whatsoever. Now, if it's something like where they could actually help us and they could speak life to us, absolutely. But if it's not helpful,
Yeah.
If it's not helpful, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm going to find what's helpful for our situations and what's going on. And so, I'm just not a fan of blurting everything out about our marriage to my parents, especially because like the Bible even says that we need to leave and cleave. Like that's like our job is to be married to each other and create our own family. So I think that's super important to do that. And when you constantly bring the parents into the situations, it definitely makes it harder to live in that. This bug.
I know it's like a little like fruit fly or gnat or something.
It's just trying to eat me.
I think this is a great question. So I was guilty of doing this in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like going to my mom and saying things like I probably shouldn't have said, but I totally did.
I forgive you.
And I think, so my mom is so great and she has the same like, moral compass and values and foundation and wanted us to succeed. So I think that even though I shouldn't have said those things to her, oftentimes the great thing was she always encouraged me the right way and like really did give me good advice.
Yeah. But she never looked at me differently.
No, but we are very careful, like what we do, share. Again, same thing with, like you said, friends. Like I want to honor my spouse. So even if we are having some tension, and I mean, I would say my mom is, beside Julian, the person I do go to personally to share things. I'm just really careful, to kind of like, is this something I need advice on? Like you said, like they will perceive you how I portray you. And so it's just like speaking life about your spouse. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, I'm my parents' little girl. And no matter how long you're married or how old you get, your parents are always going to want to, if you have great parents, which
so true.
If you have great parents, which I know not everyone does, but your parents want to protect you because they love you. So sometimes I think what happens is then I talk bad, then they're automatically offended by Julian. And then when I'm no longer mad at Julian or upset about whatever, they're still mad. They're like, hey, but he did that. And I'm like, oh, that was no big deal. I was just being dramatic and having a rough day. And they're all like, well, I've been mad about that for like 2 months. So it's just, protecting you and you protecting me and having it be that we can have good relationship with each other's.
So true. Yep. Yeah. I think that's super important. That was really well said.
It was. Oh, thanks.
It was. All right. The next one, opposite sex friends, best friends. Okay. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with having friends who are the opposite sex. I mean, we all have them. Mm-hmm. I'm friends with people who she's friends with, and there might be a girl or boy or whatever.
If you're friends.
Yeah. Like we have friends and now there's boundaries and there's rules and there's things that you should definitely lay out. Like best friend, probably not going to happen because she's my best friend. This is my best friend right here. Yeah. I shouldn't have a girl best friend. I think that's weird. I think that's a little over the edge. Mm-hmm. Now I think it's totally acceptable to have friends of the opposite sex though. Like, for instance, the Gibbons, right? We love the Gibbons. They are friends of ours and we hang out with them. Me and Nicole, like we get along really well. We're homies. Like we totally talk and hang out and whatever, but we never would hang out alone. That would never happen, right? We would never do things alone. We would never put ourselves in a situation like that whatsoever. Not even because there's anything there, but because there's perception. You don't want to put yourself in a place where people could perceive anything that's not really there. And especially best friends.
Because like a best friend, like you talk to your best friend, you hang out with your best friend, you go places with them, and there's just certain boundaries. If you want to protect your marriage, if your goal is to stay married and be faithful and to only be, with one person, then you have to protect other people you spend time with. Yeah. And I think that can be hard because I grew up having a lot of friends that were guys.
And I had a lot of friends that were girls.
And maybe that's why we get along so good. And so it's just, establishing boundaries. Like once me and Julian started dating, I knew we were going to be serious. It was like, hey, I'm going to have to like walk back some of these, like, I'm not going to text other guys. That sounds so weird. But like, you're not going to text guys or like hang out with them intentionally once you're in a serious relationship and married. Now, like he said, we have friends that were couples friends, and I can talk to the guys and we can laugh and whatever it may be. We're all together. We all, too, I think, want to honor each other's marriages, which I think is really cool when you can have friends who have the same idea as you. They want to stay married. And even in like times where they're struggling, they want the same thing from their marriage, longevity and faithfulness. And so it's great because you also then have like marriage cheerleaders, like, hey, we believe in you. Like, let's all hang out together, but we want to honor your marriage so we can all be friends. But we know there's boundaries and you don't even have to really necessarily put those out there. We just know that they're there.
Yeah.
So opposite sex friends, I think if your spouse and you are friends with those people together.
Yep.
Can you be friendly? Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, I work with guys. He works with girls, obviously. I mean, hello, it's 2022. I'm not going to be mean, but I'm also going to make sure that I carry myself in such a way that says like, I'm a happily married woman.
Yep.
I can be kind, but you have boundaries, and same with Julian, and, best friends, I'd say no,
definitely not.
Personally.
I mean, really your spouse should be your best friend.
Right. So my best friend is a guy.
My best friend is a girl.
His name's Julian.
And her name's Brittany. We are best friends though.
We are.
And at the end of the day, when somebody would ask me, hey, do you have a best friend? I'm like, absolutely. My wife, she's my absolute best friend. We live life together. We do things. We laugh. We have fun. So why would I need another person like that?
Well, and I think
that's the opposite sex. And it makes no sense.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, which I totally did. But, you know how it's so cliche, but it just talks about like marry someone, your friends, like marry your best friend.
Yes.
And I think about like, cause in the beginning of when you meet someone, and this isn't a question, but you're like, there's always that like hot factor, that attraction factor that really like pulls you into that person. But I think it's good to think about like, could I see myself just like hanging out with this person? Like going to a movie and hanging out, like take all even though physical is great, if you took any of that away, would you still want to be in that person's presence? Because things aren't always going to be easy. You need to like not just love and burn for passion for that person, but do I like this person? So if you're in a season of dating or, whatever that looks like do you see yourself being friends with that person,
Yep. And even if you're already married, I think there's ways for you to grow that side of your relationship even further than where you are right now. Because maybe you're in a situation in your marriage where you're just not really getting along and you're having a hard time being with each other. I think it's important for you to create opportunities, kind of like what we talked about last week, 5 ways to support your spouse, right? It's the same thing when it comes to your marriage. Like you need to figure out ways how to create opportunity for you guys to grow closer together, to become friends, to have fun. I think a lot of marriages lack having fun. Like what do you do together that's fun for the two of you? That doesn't involve your kids, doesn't involve anybody else. What are the things that you two can do together that creates a bond, that creates opportunity for you to enjoy each other and have fun together?
But like you were saying, creating fun. And I think what's hard is then in the times where it's not fun, you've built this foundation of friendship and in love that's deeper than just anything else. It's like yesterday, we just had fun. Kitchen was such a mess this morning when we went downstairs and there's like dirty laundry.
Which is not us. That's not how we are.
I'm the type of person who I'm like, I need to have the dishes done before bed. I've lightened up a lot, but I mean, I'm very type A when it comes to my house. I like very clean, very organized. I'm a minimalist. I like literally love to get rid of things more than the average person. I told Julian the other day, I'm getting rid of 10 bins. I know we have a lot of bins in our garage. And I was like, okay, 7. But because I just love to purge. I don't know why.
You like to create space. You like to have
I do. And I think it helps me think. It helps me be better at work and as a mom and as a wife because I like space. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but when you have created a great foundation of fun, like yesterday, we literally just came home. We got lunch out so we didn't have to cook. And we swam in our pool with our girls for hours and hours and laughed and laughed and did not do dishes, did not do laundry, did not clean up. But we just had fun. Yep. And I had been having kind of like a rough week and not having a lot of fun. Yep. But it was good to bring us back to that place of like, we can have fun and be best friends and be in love and be great parents.
So true.
But it's like creating that fun. And sometimes that means you have to let go of your perfect picture of what things should look like.
For sure.
You know?
Yep. Like me throwing underwear on the ground instead of the basket. It just happens
Which
sometimes.
he literally still does.
Just happens sometimes.
Like
you
if
know?
the basket's not there, bless his heart. Okay.
Just happens sometimes.
So we have this basket, like
in our closet.
Walk-in closet, and it is in there because like usually that's where you'll change to like take a shower or whatever. If the basket is not there, you will still find Julian's clothes
in that spot.
At least it's in that spot.
Yeah.
Except for sometimes they're right over there by where your bed is.
Sometimes I just
where our bed. Our bed. We do sleep in the same bed.
And it all just comes off. I don't know.
He does. It's like there's just like he was raptured. There's like a pile of clothes
right next to my bed.
Shorts and a t-shirt, and it just looks like he just.
I was taken by the
Lord.
Just
all came off.
It's so true.
But he leaves it there so that, you know, in case he needs it.
In case I need it. You never know. You never know when you're going to need that in your life.
You need your clothes. But yeah, he still leaves clothes on the floor sometimes.
But that's the thing. Like, there's things about each other that might bug us or might be like a trigger that makes us go, ugh, you're so annoying, right? I don't feel that way at all, just by the way.
No, I do wonder sometimes. I'm like, because I have those, but then you are always like, I don't know.
It's fine. It's okay.
There's got to be something. I'm trying to think of something that bothers you that I do.
Something that bothers me that you do.
I didn't know there's got to be something. There's got to be something. Please tell me something.
Okay. No, that's true.
Okay.
When we're driving.
Oh, yeah.
Her backseat driving is, it literally drives me nuts.
It's not backseat driving because I'm sitting in the passenger seat. So it is passenger seat driving.
Her passenger seat driving literally drives me nuts.
Okay, but
I'm okay.
Listen, sometimes he needs it because we are so close to the car in front of us.
Julian, there's a car. And I'm like, I know.
Okay, but I have also learned to try to be calmer when at least I say it.
You have. You've gotten
because
better.
There has been times that I have helped. They may be few, but like a person, I've saved someone's life being a passenger seat driver. So you're welcome.
Okay.
If it was you.
If it was you. Okay. We're going to go with that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, not much bothers me about you. So
now I feel bad for my exhaustive list of things that bother me about you. I'm just kidding. I do think the longer you're married, if you choose to just bear with each other, those things do.
They do.
They start to get less and less. Like when I see the pile of clothes on the floor now, I don't say a bunch of bad words in my head and mentally I don't know, do something. I just kind of smile and nod and pick them up and take them downstairs.
Yep. It's very true. I've been doing a lot better though. I try.
No, you do great.
I try. I just grew up differently from you. That's all. So we're working on it. I'm a work in progress.
I mean, we've only been together for 17 years.
I mean,
so at this point, I should just accept anything that's on the list.
If it's there, it's there, babe.
It's there. Anyway.
It's there, baby.
Anyway, that's the end of this one. We could talk literally like this all day. Anyway.
I know, for real. But we really appreciate your questions.
We do. We love to answer your questions because we want to be relevant to you.
Yeah.
So your questions are awesome.
Yeah. And please do us a favor. Share. Share this with your friends and your family. If you know somebody has a marriage that, might need some help and need a little love, we would love to be able to be a part of that. We would love to be able to help speak truth into their marriage and their lives. And we really have a heart for people to be married and to have healthy relationships. And we're tired of seeing people just give up hope and give up. And when we feel like there's always an opportunity for restoration. Now, I get it. Some people's situations are harder and different and all that stuff. And I'm not naive to that whatsoever. But I truly believe if we can nip it in the bud before it ever becomes what it is, we can truly save some marriages. And we hope we can be a beacon of light to you. So like we said at the very beginning, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, don't miss another video. If you're on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, make sure you subscribe to it as well. And we would love to keep this journey going with you. Peace out. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.